Hello everyone, my name is Mehak and the topic for today's lecture is Preamble of the Indian Constitution. Preamble is an introduction or a preparatory statement which is attached to a statute. It gives an idea about the objective with which that act has been enacted. Constitution's preamble is different from the preamble which we find in the statutes like Indian Contract Act, Code of Civil Procedure, Sale of Goods Act, etc. Because when you read the preambles of these statutes, you will see that it is like a one-line statement which is given, which is said to be a preamble in those acts. But in the Indian Constitution, the preamble is a lengthy document. It has been dedicated with one entire page in the Constitution. Why is the preamble in the Indian Constitution so lengthy? Obviously, because the Indian Constitution itself is the lengthiest constitution in the entire world. The constitutional drafters, they referred to several jurisdictions and their constitutions before coming up with the final draft of the constitution. We have learned from the experiences of the other jurisdictions. We have not blindly borrowed the provisions of other constitutions. We have analyzed their provisions and seen as to what extent are those provisions applicable to the conditions prevailing in India, and then only we welcomed them into our final constitutional draft. Now, there are certain constitutional conventions which have been incorporated into the preamble. Before delving into that, let me make it clear that there is a difference between a constitution and a constitutional convention. Constitution is the document which we are talking about right now, which has been drafted by the drafters in 1949. We adopted it, and in 1950 it came into force. That is a constitution. But what was the basis behind coming up with the provisions which have been incorporated into that constitution? That basis is what is called the Constitutional Convention. For example, the principle of equality, the knowledge that there was this evil of untouchability prevailing in India. This was the Constitutional Convention before coming up with the provision in Constitution for the abolition of untouchability, this evil of untouchability. So the convention is the need to do away with this evil in the society, and the constitution is what has actually in effect done away with that evil in the society. So there are certain other words which are there in the constitution's preamble. For example, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, and justice, fraternity, liberty, equality, and unity, integrity. These are certain words which hold as constitutional conventions for our constitution. Secondly, there is a mention of these terms. We, the people of India. In fact, this is where the constitution's preamble starts. We, the people of India, shows the idea that we have given great importance to the will of the people. Public interest is placed at the highest pedestal in India. So, we, the people of India, holds the essence of the Constitution. Constitution is given to the people, by the people, for themselves. As Abraham Lincoln once defined democracy as the government made by the people, for the people, of the people, in the similar manner, we can say that we have incorporated that essence into our Constitution's provisions as well. We have given the people the authority to govern themselves. So India is also a democracy. Now let us discuss these terms in slight more detail. For example, I told you about the word sovereign has been mentioned in the Constitution's preamble. Sovereignty is the concept. Sovereign state is the state which has all the authority to govern its own internal and external affairs. There is no other superior external power which has been given authority to govern this country's internal and external affairs. In fact, sovereignty is vested in the people, not even any body created by the law. So sovereign in the state are the people and not the parliament. Parliament, in fact, is itself bound by the constitution, and constitution is given to us by the people only. So people are the sovereign in this country. Second word which has been used is socialism. Socialist. So socialism is the concept. Socialism means doing away with all inequalities in status, income, standard of living, etc. In other words, we can say to do away with all the exploitations in the society. That is the objective of socialism. So, India is a socialist state, it is a welfare state. It works for the benefit of people, for creating equality in the society. Now, the next word which has been used is secular. Now, for understanding this concept of secularism prevailing in India, there are two words. I would not say words, but these two concepts which are incorporated. First one being Sarv Dharma Sambhavna. It means that all religions are to be respected in the country. And Dharma Nirpeksh is the second word, which means that the state has no religion of itself. It will not favor one religion over the other in the state. For it, all religions are of equal at equal levels. So these are the two terminologies which we need to understand. The next word which has been used in the preamble is democratic. We have discussed this. India is a parliamentary democracy. People elect the government for themselves and they are given the power to overthrow that government whenever the next election comes. Reason behind overthrowing the government is it may be that it has not functioned properly for the benefit of people, it has not acted in public interest, and whatever has not lived up to the expectations of the people who elected them. The universal adult franchise is a constitutional right which is recognized in the constitution itself, and every person who has attained the age of 18 years is entitled to cast vote in the elections. The next word which has been used in the preamble is republic. India has a republican form of government where the head of the state is elected by the people and he is elected for a fixed term of period, and the person at the head who is the head of the state is not a person who is a hereditary ruler, because it is in the hands of people to elect any person, no matter whether that person is related to the predecessor or not. So, this way, India is a republican form of government. The next word used is justice. Justice, we all know, means nyaya, and nyaya is very important if we want people to uh, live as a community within themselves with harmony. So the harmonization of the interests of an individual and a group, and the individual and group on one hand and the community on the other, it is important to uphold the ideal of justice, to balance the interests of all. So justice is another concept which is there in the preamble. The next one being liberty. Liberty means freedom from all restraints over the individual freedom. Liberty is important for a person to survive with dignity and to uh, develop develop as an individual in the society and to serve the society. So liberty is another thing which is mentioned in the preamble. It is also enshrined in Article 21 of the Constitution, where we say that no person shall be deprived of his right to liberty except by the procedure established by law. So it means that there are certain limitations which can be put over the this idea of liberty, because if a person has committed a crime which is against the societal interests, if a person has committed murder, if a person has committed rape, if a person is, let's say, a psycho killer, he cannot be let loose in the society and be allowed to do those evil actions for a long time. He needs to be restrained, he needs to be taught a lesson so that he does not commit the same act in future. For that, the procedure established by law says that he should be arrested and punished for the act he has committed. It will also not only act as as a deterrence against that one individual, but as a deterrence against the entire society, all the prospective offenders who are there in the society. So, in such cases, it is important to curtail the liberty of a person. The next ideal, which has been incorporated in the preamble, is equality. Liberty and equality are concepts which are, we can say, complementary. They go side by side. Equality implies the equality of status, equality of opportunity, and equality in terms of developing at the par with the all the others in the society. So that is why equality of opportunity is the main element here. Other words which have been used are fraternity. Fraternity means living with brotherhood. As individuals belonging to one common country, it inculcates um, the idea of belongingness to the nation. So fraternity is another concept. The next one being unity and integrity. Earlier, the terms in the preamble was unity of the nation. Integrity word was added by 42nd Amendment of 1976, and same was the case with socialist and secular. These words were also added by the 42nd Amendment. Unity and integrity is very important for a nation to survive. Otherwise, we all know that there are certain movements and protests which occur in various countries due to which the country segregates, like um, Bangladesh separated from India, and Bangladesh developed much later. It was due to this um, thing being inculcated into the minds of people that they don't belong to the country. So that is what endangered the unity of the nation, and that is why everything fell apart and it became another country. Same was the case with Pakistan. There were no protests actually, but yes, the situation was such that these people, the people from Pakistan, now Pakistan, were made to believe that they don't belong to this country. So it led to the segregation of the country. So unity and integrity are very important for a nation to survive. These were the major terms which are used in the preamble. And moving ahead, if you have heard of the pure theory of law given by Hans Kelsen, if not, I will give you a brief. Hans Kelsen is a prominent jurist, and when you read jurisprudence, you will definitely read about the pure theory of law. He used to say that, as the name suggests, pure theory of law, he said that law is something which is independent. It survives independently of other things, other aspects like ethics, sociology, politics, economics, etc. Law is there independently existing in the society, and there are a set of norms which are there in the society, and these set of norms take authority from a superior or principal norm called the grand norm. The grand norm has no authority behind it. It owes its authority to no other rule of law. It itself is a rule of law. So, grand norm is the superior norm. Now, the question is the Indian constitution a grand norm? Can we say that in Indian constitution is the superior norm which gives authority to other norms existing in the legal system? Earlier, when I was asked this question by someone, I responded by saying, of course, it is a grand norm because it is the law of the land and it gives authority to other laws and everything. If anything is unconstitutional, you can just repeal that law, etc., etc. But to my shock, it was not the case. Indian constitution is not a grand norm. Reason being that it can be amended. A grand norm is something that cannot be changed. It has been there in the society from a long, long time, and in fact, it has attained that authority for itself due to the fact that it has been there, accepted by the people from such a long time. So that is why Indian constitution is not a grand norm. Now, why am I discussing Hans Kelsen's theory in the topic of preamble to the Indian Constitution? I'm asking you about this question that whether Indian Constitution is a grand norm or not, because can we say that if preamble is a part of the Constitution, then can it be amended like other parts of the Constitution or not? This is a very this not is, it has been a very controversial topic. This question has been asked in several cases. Once in Ray Berubari case, it was stated that preamble is not a part of the constitution, and because it is not a part of the constitution, it cannot be amended. But later, this position changed, and now it is a settled rule. In case of Nanda Bharti versus State of Kerala, it was held by the court that the view laid down in Ray Berubari case was erroneous, and it is not correct because preamble is definitely a part of the Indian constitution, and therefore it can be amended like other parts of the constitution. So these two are the major cases when you want to understand the part of amendments to the Indian constitution. We will be discussing it only also in that topic on amendments. There are several modes of amending the constitution, and preamble is one of the provisions. I will not say provisions, is a part of the constitution, and therefore it can be amended. So this was all for today's lecture. I hope you all liked this lecture and you got to learn something new today. And if you have any other questions, you can put it in the comments down below. Please subscribe to the channel, Supremo Amicus, and keep liking our videos. Thank you.